You're listening to the Holistic Spaces podcast brought to you by Mindful Design Feng Shui School. Episode 141, Feng Shui and Color. Welcome to episode 141 of the Holistic Spaces podcast, where we hope to inspire, educate, and empower you to create your own holistic spaces that nurture and resonate with you. Angie Cho and Laura Morris are the founders of the Mindful Design Feng Shui School. We teach Feng Shui online at Mindful Design School. Check us out at mindfuldesignschool.com and be sure to sign up for our mailing list. We have special workshops and opportunities to ask questions on the podcast. We hope you'll look us up. So today we are chatting about Feng Shui and color, and kind of from the perspective of the bagua. So this is a fun topic for most people, right?
Yes, color's fun. Everyone loves color.
Everybody.
And a lot of us could use more color in our lives. And so
That's
this is
true.
why it's nice to think of it from a feng shui standpoint.
Yeah, you know what's funny is I just did a little Instagram collab with California Closets, who I love, and they commented on my closet. They're like, "We love how you styled it with neutrals." And I'm like, "Oh, that's just my wardrobe." Because I basically only wear neutrals and like creams, whites, and black and grays. So I don't dress colorfully, but feng shui, people who are interested in feng shui often ask about colors quite a bit. So it's a good topic to chat about.
Yes. And you don't have to do big color. You can do it in smaller ways too.
Yeah.
You can get creative.
And actually, before we jump in, we just wanted to let people know we just started doing this fun special free workshop called Feng Shui Floor Plan Boot Camp. And we just did it a couple weeks ago and it was so much fun. So we looked at different people's floor plans. A lot of people submitted and we just did a quick reading. Laura and I selected a few, did quick feng shui readings, and people loved it. So be sure to sign up for our mailing list. That's the best way you can kind of keep up to date with the new things that we're doing, the new offerings that we have. Right?
Yep. Exactly.
So back to color. Okay, so color is one of the, actually, Professor Lin would say that color is one of the most effective ways to apply feng shui to your home, because color is really visual, right? And as humans, we're highly visual creatures. And a lot of people are also familiar with the feng shui bagua map. So we thought we would do this episode based on the bagua map and go area by area and just talk about the meanings of the colors in association with that area. And then anything else that we share. We just, if you don't know, Laura and I basically just do this stuff off the cuff. We maybe write a little outline, but we just talk. So we don't know what's going to come up yet.
Okay. So are we going to do it gua by gua? Or you want to talk a little bit? Yeah. Okay. So we'll start with gua, and we can start.
I'll run the show on this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
So a little reminder, if you're new to feng shui, or even if you're a seasoned practitioner, the feng shui bagua map is a energetic map, or kind of like a mandala that we lay over a space, and it has a center, which is health, but it has 8 areas around the center, and they associate with different aspects of your life, as well as different colors, different organs, different elements. And so today we'll talk about the color association. So if there is a bagua area that you would like to work on, you can also listen to what color is associated with that area.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start with, we always start with the family area, which is called Jun, and that's related to new beginnings. And the colors associated with that area are green, blue, and teal. So this is a great area, great color to work with. The colors green, blue, and teal. Those are wood energy colors, but they really promote family harmony, can be healing, and provide a lot of growth.
Yes. Yeah, green. And I think a lot of I think humans are hardwired to see green as being growth too. Makes sense, right? That vital springtime, new growth, grass and little buds coming out, that bright green color. So that is the color of this area, which is called family and new beginnings. And it has that energy of springtime. And when you look at it, even, you kind of take it a step further, it's really about creating something new, starting something new. And many areas of the bagua are associated with creativity, but there is something about that creative spark and the color green kind of going together. And the wood element, as you mentioned, which is the wood element to me, and, really think what we teach our students is that the wood element is many things, but what it fundamentally is about is compassion and flexibility. So those are really great ideas and concepts and feelings to bring into your space. And it gives you a more nuanced approach to the colors as well.
Yes. And, the colors don't just have to be in your space, which they can be, and it doesn't have to be paint colors, but it could be an accent. You can create your own art. You can wear these colors because the colors still affect us. And whether it's on our body, like our personal feng shui, or in our home, or even through green, you can bring in the color green through plants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's move on to the next area, which is wealth and abundance, which is called Shun in Chinese. And that is related to the color purple. And this is one of the most popular areas. People tend to ask about this a lot, but people, I think on a superficial level, you may think it's about cash money, but really it's not about cash money, because we all know your wealth and abundance and your feelings of prosperity and self-worth and having enough go much deeper than that, because there are plenty of people who have a great deal of money that may not feel abundant at all.
Mm-hmm.
So purple is this color, which I love that it's associated with purple, because to me, purple is a very elegant royal color. And it can be different shades of like eggplant or lavender, depending on what your tastes are and for what what you're using it for. And even like amethyst crystals are purple. That's a great one.
Yeah, and they're nice, and they've got that really nice color of purple. Yeah, and different tones of purple can sort of bring in different types of energy. So, purple is an auspicious color. Nobility, yes. Wealth, yes. Because it's almost like red has taken on a new character. It's like you've gotten to this deep, deep red moving into purple, and it gives this fiery red color this harmony and this balance. And so it's almost like red, super red in a way. And it's red as a powerful color that connects it with this prosperity. So different purples kind of have different meanings. You can kind of figure out, obviously, if you're going to go with more of a lavender, it's going to be much more subdued and calming. But if you are thinking about using this in the gua and you want to use it for purposes of kickstarting or enhancing wealth, then go with a real true purple, like a real purple. That's something that really does make you think of those, royal robes, that purple nobility.
Yeah. And also Laura created the branding the idea for the branding for our logo, and we selected purple as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was done with
It was an
purpose.
intention. Yes. Intentionally. Yes.
Yes.
It's our color. Purple's our color.
Yeah. So the next area, which is called the Tai Chi, which is the center, and it's related to health and your overall well-being, and it's related to earth element. So that means it's related to earthy tones, generally yellow, but also other earthy tones like browns and neutrals. And since this is the area about health, those colors like yellow can really support your health, but also it's this earth element. And as I mentioned, it's the center of the bagua, which touches all the other areas. So it also grounds you, it supports you, it can create a heart center for you. So you can use earth toned colors with that intention to ground you, to even like visualize walking along the earth and the soil of the earth.
Yeah. And yellow, some of us don't really associate yellow with earth just because of where our geography and where we come from. And earth for us is, the stuff you till the soil in, especially in North America, that is dark, dark brown. But understand that there's many other countries where that yellow, it's more of an ochre color, and it's that oxidized, and it's just because of the minerals in the soil. So that kind of yellowy oxidized ochre color. And actually, if you're an artist, when you have oxidized yellow and certain colors, ochres, it's when you paint with it, it is yellow. So, but it doesn't, they don't call it yellow. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. And it has to do with the minerals and what's in the soil. And so, that's why we have that traditional color in Feng Shui when we talk about the earth element being yellow too. I think sometimes we just think, obviously, as Angie said, like, earth tones, there's like a spectrum, right? Of earthy tones, and then really a true yellow. And then you get to sunlight, glowing sunlight, which, for me with that yellow, that connects it to that. I like that for the center, having that idea of sunshine in the center of your home, that symbolism for health. It's just such a clearing visualization for me. Like, it's so to brighten that center of your home.
Sorry for that little bit of noise. I dropped something. If you heard that. Okay. Yes.
Next.
I love ochre. Actually, ochre is such a beautiful color. It's very trend. It's on trend right now too.
See, I know that.
It can also like raw umber. I get those mixed up a little bit, but it's kind of like a baby poop color, but it's like a mustardy baby poop.
Yeah, umber's more like brown, like a real browny red.
Okay,
but
so
yeah, but you're thinking, baby poop is you're getting into the ochres there with that sometimes.
Yeah, but it's very on trend right now. I love it. And I think maybe because we need more grounding.
Yes.
Because a few years ago, pink was really on trend, right?
Yeah.
And maybe we need more softening, which we'll get to pink in a little bit. That's the last gua. But let's move on to helpful people and travel and benefactors, which is Chen. And this is the area that's related to heaven and metal elements. It's color gray, or it can also be metallic colors. But really, if we're talking about color, it's gray. And it's a great one if you want to really bring in more benefactor support, or I think a lot of people are feeling this way. They want to travel, get out, explore, see new places.
Yeah.
It's also very elegant too.
It is. And so one thing, we had a student, some questions asking, how do you basically enhance every different gua? Like, if you were to go to everyone, is there a different way to enhance it? And at the end of the day, no, you would use the same way to enhance something or to correct something. And one of those ways, and we teach these minor additions, these method of minor additions, one of these ways is color. And so in this particular area, I always like to, this color, using gray in helpful people, often when you're working with clients, sometimes the front entrance or the entrance or the part of their house, something is diminished. It doesn't feel, it feels like it's not as strong, or it's missing, and I've used a couple of times, and because it's a small area that's manageable, we've painted it gray to enhance it, to kind of, if they felt that it wasn't where they wanted it. And that and especially when you start asking questions around, do you feel like you've got a lot of helpful people in your life? Do you feel supported? And then it's such a great, it is an elegant color, and it worked really well, and it could be an accent wall or whatever. And so I've used it several times. It's a good color to work with.
Yeah. And I will also say that there's also people who Okay, a couple things like to clarify what Laura was saying when you to enhance every gua. We are not suggesting you go to your home divided up into 9 squares and paint every area the color, because I mean I guess you could, but that would be not the most skillful way to apply these principles. And it's always better to focus on the most important thing that you want to work on. So instead of trying to do the whole kit and caboodle and have the whole crayon box in your home, really decide what color resonates with you. And there's a few factors. So maybe it's the bagua meaning and the bagua association. Maybe there's an elemental association, which we talk about a little bit today, and maybe we'll do a whole other episode on that. But also you want to consider what are your own personal connections to it. So if I've had clients that didn't like a particular color because it reminded them of something like maybe some trauma in childhood, or maybe gray is too depressing for you, because there's absolutely so many different personal associations we can have, and cultural associations. Like for instance, in ancient China, or not ancient China, but in China not so long ago, um, they would wear black to weddings and white to funerals. So there's definitely different cultural associations with certain colors, and pay attention to that too. So we want you to pay attention to your own personal connections to the colors, but also see if what we're telling you is helpful. And we always challenge our students to look at what is useful, what is helpful, apply it. And if it's not helpful for you, you don't have to use it. So, but that said, I like gray and neutrals.
Next. And
so
neutrals, yes.
Next is also another metal area called children and completion. It's called Dui and in Chinese, and it is related to completing things, endings. It's like the autumn. It's, when people talk about their autumn of their lives, or when things are dying, like, you imagine the leaves on the trees are dying, and squirrels are collecting their acorns to prepare for the winter. So it's kind of the ending of things, the end of the harvest, after the harvest. And it's also related to the color white. And it doesn't have to be a stark white, but it could be off white. And this is also related to inviting more joy, more clarity, more precision in your life. So that's a great color to bring in more of those elements, especially like for areas like the kitchen. And especially if you have trouble focusing, white can help to clarify things.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we can all see how white, from an artistic perspective or from color theory, white is not a color. It's the absence of color. There is no color. So it symbolically it becomes a blank slate. So there's something about when you need to get your life organized and you need to start over. It's like, imagine yourself when you've got an idea and you're starting that fresh, clean sheet of paper. You're ready to write out, and start something. And you're really I'm going to complete this. I'm going to get this done. There's something about adding the color white that tends to just, as Angie said, get you focused, really, like you're ready to, okay, and that's what the metal element is all about. And this gua is about, it's like, okay, I know I'm good at starting things, but what I really want to do is complete this and finish this and get this to its autumnal state of me being completed and finishing it. So
yes. And white is a very mindful color in a lot of ways too. There's different spiritual practices that encourage wearing white, because if you just imagine if you're wearing a white pair of pants or a white shirt or a whole white outfit, you're very careful. You're mindful where you sit, how you walk walk by things, how you eat. You pay attention more because it creates mindfulness around you. So it's a very precise, it creates that feeling of precision, the energy of precision. Next up is gun position, which is also known as self cultivation, knowledge, it's related to dark blue and indigo. So sometimes it's depicted as a light blue, but really we're talking about a dark blue indigo color, because the brighter blues are related to that first area, the family area. And as I said, it's about self-cultivation, how you can work with your spiritual growth, how you can um, work with your meditation practice, work with your self-help, but also it can improve your knowledge in terms of how you cultivate your skillfulness. Say, like, if you need to gain more skills, and like something as simple as for a new job, or to learn how to paint, or whatever it is. So it can help to hone that aspect of your life.
Yeah, and blue is the color is a color, and when you have to be really specific because the meaning of it changes, the symbolism, at least in the feng shui and in the bagua, it changes depending on the tone of the blue, right? So when you start to bring in more mid-tone blues or even greenish blues, you're actually moving into wood, right? And that's sort of a different type of energy. And so when you're going, really, 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 really dark blue, like really dark blue, then you're moving almost into water. And that's why this gua, which is between the wood and the water gua, FYI, is why it's this sort of this indigo blue, this real true blue, and a deep, beautiful blue. And sometimes it's hard for people to get their head around it because they just pick a blue's a blue, but it really, there's nuances in the color.
Yes. And then let's move on to the fame and reputation area, which is called Li, and it's red, the color red. It's very fiery, it's fire element, and I mean, everyone notices the person that's wearing all red that walks in the room, or bright red lipstick, right? So it's a color of blood, it's a color of vitality. So red can be used strategically to inspire you, to activate your passion, and to open your heart to, and also to be seen, because
Mhm.
you're wearing or having red makes you very noticeable. You stand out.
Yeah, red is made for that. Red is the color of attention getting, stop, look at this, stop and look, bright red. So there's a reason why it's in that gua. Obviously, it's connected with fire as well. So you have that energy of visibility and showing yourself off and being and getting noticed and being comfortable with that. This is often a gua that is one that when you work with clients, it's a tough area because people are really afraid to be seen, and they don't want to wear red, and you don't have to. That's a pretty extreme way of doing it. But you can bring small amounts of red because it's a very powerful color. It's a color that red is a color that supersedes all others. So in orders of, how to bring in an element, let's just say red actually supersedes everything because it's so strong. And so it should be used, carefully and how you want to use it, and so that it's not overpowering your own energy. But you can use it in small ways. In that gua, you can bring in red candles. You can bring in a small, something small that's got red in it. Anthurium plant with the red, with those red leaves or flowers that it has, is a perfect example. So you can just do it, and the intention is to bring it in, but know that red will do the rest of the work because it's so strong.
Yes, and I think they've done studies because humans were evolved to pay attention to red. If you think about, the ripest fruits are red, and the sweetest and the healthiest are, if you see red, that's the color of blood. You want to be careful of that, right? But also rosy cheeks or lips indicate vitality in life. Next is the career area, which is also related to wisdom and your social network, your path in life. And it's called Khan position. And it's related to the color black because it's color of water. And sometimes different practitioners may associate blue with water, but in our school, we associate black with water. And it beckons to actually the I Ching, if you're familiar with that, which is about the Khan or water element is the abyss and it's the darkest. And so this is a very intense color to use also in large amounts, but it's interesting that it's really making a comeback nowadays, especially in homes. Black is it's very on trend. And it's also a very elegant, classic color that's generally timeless. And you can use it in strategic ways, but using black with the feng shui intention black accents can be used to with intention to maybe deepen your social circle, to help you clarify the way that you want to walk in life, or even deepening your wisdom, or to attract more energy to your home, like even with a simple black doormat at your front door.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, black is connected and as a color, again, color theory, when you use black, it recedes, it sinks back, it's deep, that's the depth. And the symbolism around it really connects to that depth and wisdom, which is what are, sort of the energies around it, is being able to go really deep on something. And you're kind of why is it connected to career? And you have to look at career a little more broadly as really learning something deeply, or searching for meaning and purpose in a very deep way on something, and going quite, being still and quiet with it and thinking about it, and understanding it on a really deep level. There is a quality to water that is mysterious too, right? And that black is brings that up, that black kind of not being able to see it, but really going deep to learn about it. So I mean, I love black. My front door is black because it happens to be in that gua. And I just think, and it goes really well with the rest of what my house is like. And so for me, it makes sense. And when you do it with intention to really bring that stillness and that wisdom in, it's great.
Yeah, and it's also really fun to work through this with when you're working with a practitioner, to kind of work with what your intention is and the different tools in the feng shui toolbox. So it's we want to keep it fun,
Mhm.
and not we don't want to stress you out and make you think, oh, I gotta change all the colors. No, it's like, how do you have fun? How do you test it out? You could even, if there's a color that resonates with you, you could start wearing it and see how it feels, especially if it's something that you're not accustomed to. Okay, so last but not least, the other favorite bagua area is called kun, and it's related to partnerships, romantic relationships, and mother element, and it's the color pink.
Mhm.
And it's a great color to use to invite in a partnership, invite in a new relationship, but it also encourages softness, understanding, heart healing. Like if you think about rose quartz, that beautiful pink, soft pink color is really very comforting.
Yes. Yeah. And I think you want to pick the pink that makes sense for you. So again, it's between fame and completion, or children there. And so it's between the white and the red. And you're going to pick sort of how you want to play with that pink. The soft, calming pink is going to give you that energy of just quieting down, or maybe, as Angie said, like self-love, softness, attracting a relationship. But then, when you go to more vibrant pinks, it's like it's swinging a little bit more passionate, like, and a bit more spark, and you're getting a little closer to the fire. So it's nice to sort of see that continuum of the color too, and really, really figure out what makes sense to you, what makes sense to use in your space. Again, you can just use a rose quartz. You don't have to, we would never tell you to paint your walls a particular color. If it makes zero sense, you have to decide whether this makes sense, or you need to work with a consultant, because there is, once you start learning this, I think there's a desire to want to do all of it. And it's nice to have someone help you and guide you to sort of be really objective about this and say, okay, well, is this really something you need to focus on? Like, do we really need to do this? Because that's a lot what you want to do there. So let's maybe really pick and choose what we're going to do. But if coin and relationships is one area, start small, like, just add in a couple of little accents and play with the color, because pink is not everyone's color, but it can be brought in small ways.
Yeah, I mean, I love pink, but only like certain kinds of pink, like muted pinks or dusty pinks. Like I ordered this pink shirt, and it was so not, it was just like Hello Kitty pink. And I was like, no, it's not good for me. And it's actually funny because Jeremiah and I were upstate, and I brought some watercolors, and this one set has a lot of fluorescence in it. And so what would we think about fluorescent pink? It's very energizing, right?
Yeah, I think it's hot pinks. You're bringing you're bringing fire in there too. I think it's like,
Yeah.
and I think it's why it's nice to sort of see colors as having these, and in feng shui, nothing is 100% one thing. There's some real nuances there, and seeing what your intention is. But yeah, when you get into the hot pinks, even like fiery oranges and stuff, I mean, you're moving into that kind of that zone of fire. So yeah.
Right. So even though we just talked about feng shui color by color, there's so many nuances, because a red can be, so we said red's very strong, very passionate, very yang energy, but there can be a more yang red and a more yin red.
Mm-hmm.
And there can be a more yang pink and a more yin pink, or a more wood. That's the beauty of color. You can bring in different undertones. There's different shades. There's different ways to work with it and different transparencies of it. So it's really a fun topic. So thanks, Laura. And Laura actually is a painter, and you studied color theory probably in art history, right?
When you mix a lot of paint colors together, you start to learn a lot about color.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So thanks so much, Laura. And thank you all for listening to another episode of the Holistic Spaces podcast. You can tune in every Monday for a new episode. Support the podcast by checking out our certification and mini courses at mindfuldesignschool.com. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week.